Great pleasure to welcome Burton Naicker, the CEO of MiWay, one of the biggest insurance companies in the country, to What's Next. And I'm looking forward to our conversation. You've been traveling. It's been a busy year for you, I'm sure, Burton, but you've had an interesting trip into the US and you've been to Cape Town as well. But firstly, how are you? And welcome, and thank you for joining us.
No, thank you very much. I'm good. And Aki, thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it. Yeah, like you say, it's been a busy year. I mean, it's been a busy life, right? Life just gets busier, as the years go by. Just got back, like you said, from the US. Went to an IT conference there just to understand, the landscape and what the guys are doing across our borders. So that was quite an interesting experience, not just the exposure to the IT space, but also, exposure to the American economy and American people and, just how they get things done. A lot of learnings for us. And now, it's about settling down, after my Cape Town trip and unwinding and getting the year done.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, you've had such an interesting career because I was reading that you actually started off, something completely different. I think you were studying electrical engineering, and then you got into banking, and then you made the switch to Telesure in the insurance industry. And I guess it's financial services, or is it any different? But what inspired you to get into the insurance industry? I mean, that's an interesting career path you've had.
Yeah, listen, like you said, I had this aspiration of being an electrical engineer. Due to financial constraints, I couldn't further my studies. So I had to drop out. And then, out of desperation, I found a job in a bank as a temporary bank teller. It was really more as a stepping stone for me. And the idea wasn't to stay in the financial services space, but it worked out well. I started to enjoy the comfort of working in a bank, aircon environment, lovely people and so forth. And then it just progressed. And later on, I realized, okay, it's difficult to now study at night, electrical engineering, and, pursue a career in banking. So I decided, okay, I'll stop the electrical engineering and look for a better career. And that's what brought me up to Johannesburg, because the KZN market was a little bit, slow and depressed at the time in terms of job opportunities. So I came up to Johannesburg, and an agent actually said, okay, we probably have a job for you in the insurance space. Couldn't understand it because, banking to insurance didn't make sense. But it was actually great because, Telesure at the time, were very broad-minded in their thinking, and they, were looking for individuals that had strong administration ability and customer experience type of engagement ability. And so that's how, I got the job at Telesure as a recoveries agent. And then, it just goes on from there. A great company at the time. I think it was great joining that group because I think it really gave me a boost, in terms of my thinking and, my direction in terms of my future career. Yeah.
Quite a varied career that you've had, and you're now into the insurance industry, and it's a very interesting industry, like a very, very competitive industry, isn't it? And when you compare it to banking, I'm sure there's a lot of similarities, but you have since had that long and storied history in that insurance industry is where you are today, and it must be very interesting to have seen the changes because let's be honest, there have been tremendous changes in this industry, fintech and, as in every industry, technology drives these changes. So what are the biggest industry changes that you've experienced during this time?
Yeah, interesting. So, I've been now in the industry for over 20 years and really starting at the bottom, which is a good thing in any job, starting from a call center agent, a recoveries agent. And so I kind of got to see, the whole kind of customer value proposition and landscape, as we say. For me, the biggest shift is in the service element. Back in the days, I think, because of the lack of competition and the lack of regulation, that, looked at things like treating customers fairly, etc., the service element was neglected. So I see a big shift, all insurers, including MiWay, really putting a lot of focus and emphasis on, boosting the level of customer service, the value we offer clients, not just as a tick box, but, putting in cultures in place like MiWay has a lead by service, led by service culture and so forth. So I've seen the needle shift in terms of service. I've seen regulation putting, a microscope to focus on, treating customers fairly and stuff, which has been a great thing because it evens the playing field and it gives the customer a good deal. The second thing is, digitization. Absolutely. I think the industry was very slow to transform. I think banking did very well. I mean, think about the days, Absa Bank, was probably one of the first that did telephone banking. And it just brought so much of convenience, right? And then the guys moved on to, digital and website and app and stuff. But the insurance company still lagged. But now I think, over the time, we've seen a lot of digital transformation, firstly in the front end to create customer convenience, and then in the back end to, smooth operations and create cost efficiencies, etc. I think, that's the biggest one. And then the last one is the move of the direct insurers. I think there's been big penetration of direct insurers across the globe, and that's just brought more competition and better value for the customer.
Wow, that's very interesting. So all about the customer, and I keep hearing you saying it over and over again. It's all about the customer experience, right? And since joining MiWay as its CEO, I think it was 2022 that you became CEO. What's been the highlights of your tenure as CEO of MiWay?
Yeah, listen, it hasn't been an easy road, but I was blessed with a beautiful business. I think got to give kudos to Rene Otto, the founder of the business, together with Santam. And Santam, as you know, is our sole shareholder. So we had a good infrastructure, we had a good business, but it was just about me taking over from a founder and introducing a new leadership style. So I think that was a bit of a challenge to get the team to buy into this new approach and this new way of doing things. But I think I was quite blessed in that the business went through COVID and didn't really adapt well to the COVID environment. So, it was quite flat in terms of performance. So I had the opportunity to get the team to try different things to, change the direction in terms of the business. And that's worked very well, especially in the last 6 months. I mean, we've seen the performance of the business really take off, both on the top and the bottom. And then I think, just finding solutions around this tough market conditions. Reality is, our South African economy hasn't grown. Insurance is probably the first thing that, individuals want to cancel. They see it as a grudge purchase. They see it as, okay, I might not have an accident, not realizing that somebody else could, bump into you. So we had to really find, solutions to kind of overcome these challenges to still, grow the business well, yeah.
Yeah, listen, I mean, COVID's had a tremendous impact. And of course, the digitization and businesses had to rethink how they did business. So it's also well done to you on coming out of COVID and emerging. And I guess that I personally am very optimistic about the future. And I think that we're going to see a growing economy over the next few years, which excites me. What sets MiWay apart from everybody else? I mean, what are the biggest selling points that MiWay has as an insurance provider in South Africa? And let's be honest, there's a lot of healthy competition. So what's different? What are the selling points that MiWay has?
Yeah, I think number one, Aki, we've been around for 16 years now. So we're no longer, the new kid on the block. I think we've broken through the barrier. And again, Rene and the team have done an amazing job in kind of differentiating ourselves from the competitors and, making a leap forward. We have strong backing from our parent company, Santam. So clients don't need to worry about capital and, the fact that, we'll always be there for claims, etc. And then I think now this is where MiWay is different. And, especially if you go on to Hello Peter, etc., you'll see clients ranting and raving about our service. Now, the reality is my guys, including me, we're human. We get it wrong. But here's our service culture. Number one, it's about lead by service, led by service, right? And that's what we teach our guys and we entrench in the business. So my thing is, nothing happens by accident. If you want to develop a culture, it needs to be designed and it needs to be executed. It needs to be trained to your staff, right? So we do that very well. And we teach, the customers, our staff how to ensure that the customer gets the best level of service, whether you're buying a policy, you're making a change to your policy, or submitting a claim, right? So that's a big thing in the MiWay space. Then we allow flexibility. So we say there's customers that want to speak to the human, that want to hear there's a human on the other side, that's selling you the policy and explaining the T's and C's, etc. Or you want to do it digital at your own convenience. So MiWay has what we call an omni-channel experience. Customer can decide to choose with us through a digital channel, whether it's email, WhatsApp, through our website. You can pick up the telephone. You can even leave a please call me, on our website, and we call you, and we do whatever is needed. We operate 365, 24/7 for emergencies. So customers, are welcome to call us at any time. And then the nice benefits of MiWay is, more than insurance. So our thing is not just being there for a customer when you have a claim. It's about you get stuck at the side of the road, middle of the night, whether it's you, your daughter, your wife, we are there in a flash to help you, right? We'll send a tow truck to you. We'll send a mechanical breakdown service. We'll change your flat tire for you. We'll bring out petrol if you get stuck on the side of the road. And these things are all included in your policy benefits. We have a neat feature on our app. So when you buy a policy, you download our app, and we have a free emergency crash alert detection technology. So if you are in an accident and you're not able to, phone, the app will then ring our emergency call center, and we'll dispatch an ambulance, for example. And then I think some nice benefits are we have this WeDrive service, and we give a customer 6 WeDrive services per annum. So we go out, have a couple of drinks, we'll get somebody to drive your car back home, ensuring that you're safe. And I think, there's just so many, but one more that I'll mention. We have fixed excess structures. So it's not a percentage of a claim. So when you have a claim, this is what you're going to pay. And it's flexible. You can choose to drop your excess. You can choose to increase your excess so that your premium decreases or, stays flat here.
Yeah, those are lots of great value adds that come with a policy. I actually didn't know a lot of those things, and I think that I would find them really useful to know that my insurer has got my back, if I need something, all those things that you mentioned. I think it's brilliant. You must be seeing amazing trends happening around you at the moment, and the insurance industry, as we mentioned earlier, is constantly evolving. In fact, every business today is evolving, impacted by AI, big data, and I'm sure that plays a role in your industry because you're learning a lot more about your customers. But what are those major current trends that you're currently seeing in the insurance industry?
Yeah, Aki, I think climate is right at the top, right? I mean, the climate risk is changing. The frequency of events and the intensity of events are changing, and it's really causing a havoc. So for insurance companies to be sustainable, we need to price risks accurately, and to price risks accurately, we need to have proper data sets. So geolocation of properties, for example, is one, and helping customers, by sending them a weather message to say that there's possibility of hail, for example, try to move your, vehicles indoor and, that type of stuff, stay off the road, just to minimize risk, right? Because why do we want to minimize risk? So that insurance becomes cheaper and not expensive. So, we've got some ideas, and we're still piloting on how do we help the customer to become better drivers and more risk averse and, that type of stuff, knowing that we'll always have your back, but trying to ensure sustainability of the industry. So climate is number one, and that's a global thing, right? And then I think, digital is a big thing, but that's a good thing because digital is just creating, look at Checkers, right? They've just done so well with the 60/60, application. They've executed well. Got to give them kudos. So I think, in the insurance space, we are trying to just get slightly ahead of the curve in creating that customer convenience and that more than insurance offering. Not just selling a policy and not worrying about a customer, but selling a policy and doing the things that I just told you about now, but much more. So the customer understands that your insurance company is more than, just being there for you when you need a claim. And I think, the utilization of data. I think we've underutilized data 20 years ago, but in the last 20 years, we are using data to make every single decision in the business. And that trend we see across the industry, which is great, right? Because it optimizes the business, and it just, whatever you do in the business flows back to the customer in terms of savings. And that's where MiWay, I think, wins the game, right? Because I think, like you'll see our billboards where we say customers save up to 40% in insurance. Now, customers that move to MiWay, that buy a policy, move because of one thing, and that's price. Because the reality is, when a customer buys the policy, it's like, hey, but do I really need this? I might not have a loss. So they look for price. So we are able to offer very good value with all the benefits that's still, not lost kind of thing here.
Interesting stuff. Now, Burton, if you could give South Africans one piece of advice about insurance, what would it be?
Yeah, the first advice is we all think that we are great drivers, right? Let's talk about vehicles first, and then we'll talk about property. But we don't realize that, yes, we might be great, but others might not be so great, right? I mean, think about phone usage. Aki, phone usage is probably the number one cause of incidents these days. So we have telematics data, and we analyze telematics data on an ongoing basis, and we see phone usage, just taking your phone, texting in your phone, and then you see an accident after that is skyrocketed, right? So firstly, I'll say to people, please, stop using your phone in your vehicle, but understand that not everybody drives the way you do. And people are human. They're allowed to make errors on the road. And if they crash into you and you don't have insurance, you've got a problem. You work so hard for your asset. I mean, a lot of us, in this country have worked very hard to accumulate, the little that we have. And in one crash, you can lose everything. Then there's things like the weather, right? I mean, you don't know when it's going to hail. And you leave your car outside, it can get damaged. Your property can get flooded. I mean, we don't think of things like an accidental fire. I mean, we've seen houses destroyed to the ground, because of a fire. So, I would say to customers, you really got to think about, those events that could happen that you think might not happen. And just have basic insurance. You don't need to have the full scale insurance, but just have even a percentage of your, assets insured to ensure that, when something happens, you're covered. Yeah.
Yeah, and for what you're going to pay to get that coverage and have that peace of mind, if something does happen, it could be devastating financially for anybody. So I think that's great advice to sit down, analyze your assets, look at the world that you're in, and analyze what risk there is. And if you had to lose a car or, God forbid, something happens to your home, will you be able to survive that financial impact? So 2024 has been an interesting year, as have told me about, and 2025 is now just around the corner. What's on your diary, and what's on your plan for next year, and your goals for MiWay as the CEO of MiWay for 2025? Are you able to share any insights with us on what you're planning to do next year?
Yes, for sure. Right. So number one, I think it starts with our people. So we are people business, right? Because we are direct business, everything is done within the business. We have call center agents that call customers, sell them policies, maintain their policies. And so we've got a very big human element to this business. So Aki, for me, what I'm proud of, the MiWay business employs 1,800 people, right? And we have something called a street to seat philosophy in our business. So we really allow matriculants, people with matric and 1 year, no experience, I mean, we're proud of that, to come into our business. We train individuals. We spend a full month in training. We give them training, and then we get them on the phones and we get them into a job. Many individuals, so I ask this every month in induction. How many of you sitting here today dreamt in matric of being an insurance agent? Nobody puts their hands up, including me. And I said, but hey, I joined the insurance space and things worked out pretty well. So, you could make a great career if, you give it a chance. So we kind of instilled that. And, there's so many success stories in our businesses where people have started as learnerships, earning 3,000-4,000 rands a month. And they now, general managers and head of departments earning good salary, have a good lifestyle, educated themselves on the way and so forth. So I think the biggest thing is to continue, investment in our people, so that the customer, gets the good deal at the end of the day, and we, continue with our employment pledge. I think the second thing is we're just constantly chipping and trying to improve customer experience and value proposition. So we want our customer to be assured that when you buy something from MiWay, even if you don't use the product, you got a fair deal and the right deal. And the second is, at every stage of your interaction with a MiWay agent or myself, we want to give you the best level of service. And when we drop the ball, because we're humans, we want to be able to immediately rectify the situation. So that's the kind of things we're working at. And then it's general stuff. There's a lot of runway left for a business like MiWay in terms of growth. So, we're really pushing growth of the business to expand its operations, to expand its client base. And yeah, like any other business, maintain profitability and then reward our staff and our customers and our suppliers well.
Wow, Burton, it sounds like you've got your hands on this business and guiding it in the right direction. Congratulations to you and your team, and the growth of many more customers. And it's great to see the value that MiWay adds to the customer. Burton Naicker, the CEO of MiWay, fantastic insights on the inside of an insurance company and the philosophy behind it. We thank you for your time and joining us on What's Next.
No, thank you very much. It was a pleasure and it was a great conversation, Aki.